Thank you again for tuning in to That Bible Life. I'm your host, DeShon Fanaka.
Juanita Jackson.
And this is That Bible Life. Make sure you subscribe to our podcast. Also, you can listen to us as you probably are doing either on Spotify, Podbean, or thatbiblelife.com. Again, make sure you subscribe to us or listen to us and download our episodes. So, we just have a few announcements before we get into this episode. First of all, we welcome your feedback and we definitely want it. Even if you want to tell us the show stinks or you want to give us some critique or whatever, you like it, you don't like it, make sure you tell us. You can send us an email message at thatbiblelife@gmail.com, or you can call into our number, which is 414-216-3669. Again, that's 414-216-3669. You may be saying, man, what about a toll-free number? That's coming soon. All right, next thing, we're preparing to go live soon with the ability for you to call in. We will give you the dates, so stay tuned. And let us know if you want to advertise with That Bible Life, either on our website or here on the audio show. So send us a message. If you want to advertise, you can text you can text to us at 414-216-3669. You can call us at that number. You can send us an email message to thatbiblelife@gmail.com. Also, episode 4 coming up right after this one is we're going to begin our series on spiritual war. Part 1 is it's not like the movies. Many times you see the movies, you've probably seen plenty of them. I can name them, but you see demons growling, you see all types of stuff exploding. You see the devil supposed to be wearing red, or he's in a suit, or he's some kind of leader. Well, we're going to begin to look at what the scriptures say really about spiritual war. And it's not like you think in the movies. Just to give you a little bit of preview or a hint of one of the things we're going to discuss in episode 4. Oftentimes people have opinions of many things and opinions of other people. And if you're not careful, your opinions can kill someone, or others of people's opinions of you can kill you if you let them. Why do I say that? Well, people may rank you based on or judge you based on where you work, how much money you earn, what you look like, and so many other things that really are stupid. Why do I call them stupid? Well, if you look at John chapter 7, verse 24, it's not, the word stupid is not used, but yet the Creator uses the scriptures to tell us stop looking at mere appearances and judging by those things. Look at what's really important. So we're going to get into that and other things. Again, the basis of spiritual war. What is it? How does it look? Just a little bit in part 1 of our series. So stay tuned for episode 4. All right, let's hop right into it. So episode 3, as we told you, is the third part of our foundation on why we study the scriptures. Why do we have this podcast? Thank you for bearing with us, because I know a lot of you are thinking, this podcast sounds like so many others. You all gave us those topics. I'm looking forward to hearing that. And all you do is talk about these verses in the scriptures. Well, it's important for us to do that again, because at some point when we have 40 or 50 episodes and somebody only started listening to episode 40, they may say, why in the world these folks, where are they coming from? What are they doing? They can go back to episode 1, 2, or even this one, and they can hear our foundation. So I promise you, we're going to start talking about some of those things that I'm not saying they're intended to be funny or intended to be juicy, but they will be. But this is our foundation, episode 3. So stay tuned. All right. Just keep hanging with us, bearing with us. So with that said, my lovely wife is going to read to you the scripture that is the foundation of this episode. And it is brought to you by Proverbs chapter 1, verses 1 through 7. Okay, Juanita.
I'm reading from the English Standard Version. The Proverbs of Solomon, son of David, king of Israel. To know wisdom and instruction, to understand words of insight, to receive instruction in wise dealing, righteous justice and equity, to give prudence to the simple, knowledge and discretion to the youth. Let the wise hear and increase in learning, and the one who understands obtain guidance. To understand a proverb and a saying, the words of the wise and the riddles, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and instructions.
All right, thanks so much, Juanita. We could have read many, many passages, but the reason I chose this one, and it's only one of many, is to give you an example of what it looks like for people who do read the scriptures and also for people who don't. So if you look in this passage, it's just in the Proverbs, but when you read Proverbs, they came from Solomon, who was at one time the king of Israel. And it's the reason why he gave the Proverbs to people. So some of the things were to know wisdom and instruction. And it talks about prudence, talks about justice, righteousness. And so, of course, we know the Proverbs are in the scriptures. It's a part of the Bible. But it's not the only book in the Bible that you read and will get wisdom. You get wisdom from reading any of the scriptures, any of the books in the Bible. But again, I use this as an example. And I'll leave on this verse. Not leave, but I will. This last part I will explain. In verse 7, it says, the fear of the Lord, or he's known by many names. But the fear of the Lord, the fear of the Creator, is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and instruction. You may look around the world. You may look around your neighborhood, where you work. You may look around your home. You may look around your family. Maybe even sometimes yourself. I mean, I've done some foolish things and I've called myself stupid. Well, really what happens is when we don't, my wife and I were talking earlier this evening during pre-production meeting, and we talked about how when people, we were praying this too to the Creator, and we were praying when people don't listen to the Creator, they listen to something. Many people listen to themselves. They listen to their friends. They listen to music. They listen to the media. They listen to you respect your parents, so especially for all of you who are minors out there, please respect your parents. They may be telling you some things that are not wise. They may be telling you some things that are not right. But hopefully the majority, if not 99% of what they tell you is right. And if it isn't, just hold on. And sometimes we know our parents aren't telling us what's right. But hold on, obey them, because when you become an adult, you'll have an opportunity to step out from that and leave. And again, I'm not telling you that your parents are telling you wrong. I'm just saying that to those whose parents maybe they are, hold on. Don't rebel against them. Don't raise up against them. Just hold on. I've been an adult much longer than I've ever been a kid. Should I give my age? Let me put it like this. I've been an adult for more than 25 years. I was only a minor for 17.9 or 18, you can say. That's another story for another time because I left home before I was 18. With that said, I remember my childhood, but I've had a much more opportunity to be an adult and therefore be able to seek and do what is right on my own, independent of parents or adults. I mean, I'm saying all that just to say that if you seek what is right and seek it from the Creator, we listen to lots of things, including our parents and even ourselves, but we get in trouble from doing that. There's a scripture that talks about do not lean on your own understanding, but look and lean to the Lord or to God, to the Creator. And there's so much in the scriptures. I mean, we're talking about many, 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 many words, many passages on many subjects. If you seek Him, start by talking to Him. We call it prayer. It may just be a conversation for you, but talk to Him and ask Him as you read to help you to understand what you read. And I can't tell you what that is because then it would just be coming from me or Juanita or anyone else. But I am telling you that it starts by reading these scriptures. That's where you're going to start getting wisdom because like we said in episodes 1 and 2, we truly believe that these are His words given to man to write for us to gain wisdom and instruction and a great life. So
that was nicely said. I don't have much more to say, but I agree with my spouse. If you truly just read the word and allow him to speak to you and you to listen, because it's important to listen, not to always speak, but listen. He will direct your path. He really would. And I'll just suggest for anybody, sooner than later, don't wait till you older to get that relationship after you done made many mistakes like I did in my life. Yeah, I wish I had started my journey with him a long time, but I'm thankful for where I'm at. I'm thankful for him keeping me. But yeah, just please, it is critical. Like my husband was saying, we can listen to many things, and many things can stir us in the wrong direction, and we will eventually find our way back. So I just say, find your way sooner than later.
All right. So I said before that this episode is titled The How, When, and Where We Use the Scriptures. So the first thing I do is I talk about how. These are just some practical things that we came up with just to give to you. So how do you read the scriptures? Well, you can read it and ask the Creator for understanding. You can read it alone. You can read it with the group. You can read it at home. I wasn't intending for that to rhyme, but it just did. You can read it at home. You can read it on the go. You can read the print version. You can read the electronic version. There's mobile apps for Android, Apple iOS, or what you call the Apple iPhones. You can also get electronic Bibles if you don't have a smartphone. Many of the bookstores, and I believe Walmart and Target probably have an electronic version of the Bible. They're battery operated, but they work great. There is an app that I know Juanita and I and many of our friends use on the Android system. What is it called? The Play Store. It's called the YouVersion Bible app. I think it's awesome. I don't use that word a lot for many things, but the reason I say that is because you can enter words in there and search by subject. You can search by a topic or a verse. You can go to the scriptures so quickly using this thing. You can use it offline, even if you're not connected to Wi-Fi or to the data, but you download it. You download different versions. I mean, it has different versions, different languages: English, Spanish, French, Swahili, Afrikaans, Chinese. I mean, they have it in so many languages. It's amazing to me because the print version is great. I love the scriptures in any version. But with this version, we have our phones anyway. So I talked about all the different places or how you can read it. While I'm waiting somewhere, I can read the scriptures. I can pull out as I'm on my phone. I can pull it out no matter what I'm doing. If I get bored, whatever, anywhere, and I can read that thing. You can also download it on your tablet. You can use that app on your desktop or on the laptop. So that's what I just think is awesome. I suggest use it or use one like it, okay? How else can you read the scriptures? You can listen to it via audio. There's apps where you can listen to it. So the YouVersion Bible app, you can listen to it via audio. There's like a button you'll see where you push play and someone will speak it to you. You can also they have it on CD. I know a lot of bookstores, again, I have different versions of the scriptures on CD. You can meditate on it and think about it as a movie if you want. I'm a very visual person. I have a vivid imagination. So some of the scriptures are very descriptive. They're describing people doing things. And I sometimes imagine it. That makes it exciting to me. That makes it come alive. That's just a suggestion. You can also talk about the scriptures after you read them. You can talk about it while you're reading. You could read it out loud. You can write questions about it. You can ask questions about the scriptures. So there are many other ways, but those are just some of the ways that you can read the scriptures that I suggest.
I agree.
Okay. So now think of the scriptures as a study guide for our final exam. What's the final exam, DeShon? Well, it's called the Day of Judgment, or you may call it Judgment Day, Final Judgment. Many people have many things to say. I don't want to get into the debate of when the judgment is, whether it's good or bad. I'm not getting into that right now. What I'm telling you is that I believe, because of what the scriptures say, Juanita does too, that when we leave this life, we're going to go on in spirit. The body will decay, but the spirit will go on. And because of that, it goes on somewhere. So we will come before our Creator. All of us, I don't care what you believe, I don't care if you don't believe. I believe that we're all going to come back to the one who made us. And he would talk to us and review our life with us in some form or fashion. That is what we believe through the scriptures is called the day of judgment. So think about the scriptures as like a study guide or, study guide for the final exam. And the good thing is he wants us to pass. So he's giving us the answers so we can read. Like, you may have questions about many things. And again, there's a lot in there. Some stuff is difficult to understand. Some stuff is easy to understand. Find the stuff that's easy to understand in the beginning. And again, the creator is always available so you can ask him. All right, so when should we study? You decide the best time. However, I suggest that you study when you wake up. For those of us who may be early risers or we work first shift, study in the morning. Of course, be alert. I'm not saying roll out of the bed, fall on your face, pray when you're sleepy and groggy, and then try to study the scriptures. It won't be effective. And for those of you who read the scriptures and you're more mature in the faith, this part might be boring to you. You're like, DeShon, I already know that. Thank you. But this is for people who maybe don't and are curious and are just wanting some tips and suggestions. So, all right. So daily, I suggest you read it daily. How about you, Juanita?
I suggest you read it daily several times. There's always something going on. We get so caught up and busy. I just find that I need him more than once a day. I need to be meditating on his word, meditate on his word, like my spouse was saying earlier. Instead of me eating at work, I just read the Bible. That's why it's helpful for me to have the Bible available on my phone because I can just pull it out, like my husband was saying earlier. I can read because it's just so much going on in my life. I mean, with just work and just different people I deal with. I got to make sure I'm in the right spirit. And I got to make sure I can always find something in the scriptures that remind me what to do, about wisdom. So yeah, I say do it more often than not.
All right, so this show is called That Bible Life, and this is a longer than a 15-minute episode, but again, it's a special one. The reason I brought up the title or topic, or the title, I'm sorry, of our podcast, is because I have a very practical example for you of in my life. So today I started off, I'll be honest with you, I was discouraged. We live in Milwaukee again, as we told you, at least for now. We'll be moving, but we'll tell you about that when we do. But anyway, the winters here are long and very hard and very cold. Last week we had something that was called a polar vortex here. The air temperature got as cold as negative, what was it, like negative 20 or 25? I think that's the coldest it was on Wednesday. The next day was negative 15, but with the wind blowing, the wind chill dropped down to negative 50 in some parts of the area. Around our house, it was like negative 40, negative 38 or whatever. If you don't know how cold that is, you could take a bowl of hot water, throw it in the air on Wednesday, and it would crystallize before it hits the ground. I mean, if you've never seen that, you can look it up on YouTube. But literally, people did this here in the area, and poof, it crystallized. It looked like smoke almost, and then dropped to the ground as hard pieces of ice. That's how cold it was. You could actually, your hands, if you went out with bare hands or exposed parts of your skin, frostbite would begin to form on your skin within 2 minutes. They said 5, but when it was real cold, within 2 minutes, you started to feel frostbite. And there were several people that died in the Midwest because of exposure. Some people fell, hit their head. They died out there. Others died because of different reasons, hypothermia. But anyway, my point is this. It's warmer now, but it's still overcast. It's not so bright. We don't get a lot of sunshine here this time of year. So I was discouraged. I had what they call the winter blues. There probably was some other reasons, but all I know is I said I didn't want to stay there. I didn't want to be in that funk. So I prayed to the Father. I prayed to the Creator. Help me through it. And then I just read a few passages of scripture. Maybe I read it might have only been 1 or 2 minutes because I was at work. But I wanted something on my mind besides the thoughts I was having. I just felt like a failure. I was just having all kind of thoughts about where I could have been in life, the mistakes I made in the past. Why am I still working this job? Why am I not in the career I want to be in? Why am I here in cold, cold Milwaukee? And I was discouraged. But by praying and then reading the scriptures, I'm telling you, before I left work, my spirits were encouraged. I started to, I was better. And then I talked to one of my cousins who happens to be a preacher. And he shared something with me that really, really was encouraging. I responded in a way that we both were happy. But I'm just telling you, I don't believe that would have happened if I wasn't reading the scriptures, because guess what? I thought about it, and that's why I turned to it. Years ago, I would have just been depressed and in a funky mood, and would have came home in a funky mood, and probably would have went to bed in a funky mood. I didn't want to be in a funky mood. So that Bible life is real. I'm telling you, people, it will lift you up when you're down. It will lift you up when you're down.
I agree.
All right. So with that said, the last thing we're going to talk about. Oh, I'm sorry. We talked about when to study, and we're talking about the last thing, where to study the scriptures. So you can study the scriptures at home, and my suggestion will be in any room, but preferably a quiet setting, because it helps you to focus. There may not always be a time, when you can do that. And I'm not saying it has to be always quiet when you read, because you can read while you're sitting somewhere and people are talking. But what I'm telling you is I suggest at least once a day, sit somewhere where it's quiet. If it's for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 2 minutes, an hour, you decide that. But sit somewhere where it's quiet, because you can focus. And I remember earlier this evening, I was typing the notes and getting ready for the production and pre-production meeting. I had to step out of the room. The TV was going. My wife was talking. I just needed to focus even to write these notes. That's just me. And, it helped. So, yeah. Also, you can read while you're in a waiting room somewhere. Wherever you are. Anywhere, really. That's where you can read. But you decide that. All right? So here are some practical examples of the benefits of reading the scriptures, no matter when you read it, where you read it, or how you read it. First off, wisdom. We read Proverbs 1:1-7. The Bible helps you to have wisdom. You can start making better decisions. I know Juanita and that's a thing we've been saying, but better decisions when you read the scriptures. I'm not telling you the first time you read the Bible, you're going to just have this wisdom and insight instantly. What I am telling you is the more you do it, that's why we suggest you do it daily. The more you read it, he will start to reveal things to you. He will start to give you wisdom and insight that you've never had before. I guarantee it. And I say I guarantee it only if your motives are right, your motives are pure. If you're doing it to mock him, to mock the scriptures, well, maybe you won't. But if you're doing it because you're really seeking wisdom, you're seeking his knowledge, you're seeking the truth, he'll give it to you. So here are some of the things that I know my wife and I have discussed. We talked about how the scriptures talk about in Proverbs 31:1-6. Don't drink too much alcohol, because it'll cause you to lose focus and get sick. Also, the scriptures talk about how unmarried men, don't waste your time and money on women. You'll get into a lot of trouble. And I'm not talking about your wife. I'm not talking about the process of looking for a wife and courting a wife. I'm talking about men who squander their time doing things like going to strip clubs, having multiple girlfriends, and all that other foolishness. The scriptures talk about that. It says you'll waste yourself. You'll waste your time. You'll waste your money. You'll look up and you'll be sick. I'm telling you. Read that Proverbs 31. It'll tell you about that. It also talks about getting married when you're young and the benefits, Proverbs 5:18. Here's one of the reasons why. When you and your spouse get together, you can grow together when you're young. Nothing wrong with my wife and I were 40 when we got married, and I still love my wife. She still loves me. However, I'm telling you, we were fairly young, 40, okay, But I suggest to you, if you're 20, 21, even 18 or 19, you can get married at the age. You don't have to. But the younger you are, when you find somebody that the Father, the Creator, has sent to you, there's just benefits in that. And you can also avoid stuff like baby mama drama, baby daddy drama, love triangles, being in poverty. You can put your money together, etc., etc., etc. We may have an episode on that. Trust me, there's so many things the scripture covers. We'll probably have five. No, well, not literally, maybe, but we can have 500 episodes on 500 different things, and we still have something to talk about from the scriptures. So anyway, the Bible talks about ear hustling. You may say, what is ear hustling? Eavesdropping, listening to conversations you shouldn't be, even if it could be in your own house, it could be at work, wherever. Ecclesiastes 7:21 talks about that. If you ear hustle, and it doesn't say ear hustle, no, it doesn't. But the reason I'm not reading these passages, I want you to read them. That's why. We want you to get into the scriptures. Again, that's Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 21. Talks about if you ear hustle, don't do it, because you may hear something that leads to some arguments, some fighting, and worse. Again, I'm paraphrasing. You read it for yourself. If you don't know how to, send us a message. We will read it on the next episode or an upcoming episode if you really just want us to do that. Scriptures talk about not eating too much. We know what's going on in the world today with health. There's so many people with things like diabetes and high cholesterol, heart disease. All of these diseases are preventable in some cases. Some people are genetically what they call predisposed to have certain diseases. Yes, they are. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about type 1 diabetes. That's what kids or young people get diabetes because their pancreas stops producing insulin. I'm not talking about that either. I'm talking about people who get these diseases because they eat too much. They eat too much of the bad foods. They eat too much of the good foods. They just eat too much. The Bible talks about that. Where, DeShon? Read Proverbs 25:16. Talks about how to value your body because your body is precious. 1 Corinthians 6:20 talks about that. Talks about honoring God with your body because it was bought at a price. So your body is precious. It really doesn't belong to us. It belongs to him. He wants it and he wants it back. Also, don't allow any person, man or woman, to abuse you. You are worth more than that. And then Proverbs 22:7 talks about how to handle money. There's so many scriptures that talk about it, but that's just one I'm using. Yes, how to handle your money. Read it again and you will understand. If you don't understand, send us a message on phone, send us an email message, and we will explain it, all right? So I'm just about wrapping up. Lovely wife, GP, do you have anything?
Great episode.
All right, so hopefully we said something that you found interesting. Again, there are some practical examples that we can get into, but I know this episode can go on for a long time. I think what we're going to do, we're going to talk about at our next pre-production meeting, having like an episode 3 and then episode 3B. Episode 3B, we just give those practical examples we just give those practical examples. My wife's like, come on, dude, stop it. No, what I mean by that is, like I gave you the one of me being discouraged today and praying and going to the scriptures and just giving more examples like that, good or bad. So that's something we may do. But with all that said, thanks for tuning in. And remember, our next episode, we're beginning our series on spiritual warfare. There'll be multiple episodes, at least 4, but maybe more as necessary. And we're going to talk about spiritual warfare not being like the movies. So what does it look like? What does the scripture say about it? What are some examples? And then in our life, what are some examples? I gave you a hint earlier. I'm going to give you one more. If you understand this one thing that the scripture says, I think it really will give you some great insight onto what spiritual war is. It says that there are basically 2 sides in this war. The leader of one side of the war, his mission is to kill, to steal, and to destroy. Again, and I will read that passage. His mission is to kill, steal, and destroy. Well, who, DeShon? Us, people, human beings. He's called the father of all lies. He's called the deceiver. He's called the tempter. So know that those are his jobs, to tempt us, to disobey the Creator, to lie to us, to deceive us, to steal, to kill, and to destroy. That's what he promotes. That's what he teaches. That's what he wants us to do. So we'll get into it. Episode 4. Thanks for tuning in. This is DeShon Fanaka.
Juanita.
And this is That Bible Live.
Live.
Thanks for tuning in. We love you.